conversations with incredible people.
I just want to turn it up to 11 and just dance.
People don't talk about the quality of the sound on a cassette in the same way they do with a record.
No, they don't.
Joe Wiley.
Broaden your musical horizons tonight from 7 on BBC Radio 2.
On the Sounds app, your smart speaker, and 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 1 o'clock. This is Anthony Birchley. The Chancellor is setting out his budget.
The Prime Minister's priorities to halve inflation, reduce debt and get the economy growing. We are following the plan and the plan is working.
Fuel duty will remain frozen and there's extra support for pubs when widespread strikes are taking place across England. The Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, has been delivering his first budget since he took charge of the Treasury in October after the economic chaos created by Liz Truss's government. Within seconds of beginning his address, Mr Hunt told the Commons that the economy was proving the doubters wrong. He said Britain wouldn't now go into recession this year, which is when the economy shrinks for 2 quarters in a row.
We remain vigilant and will not hesitate to take whatever steps are necessary for economic stability. Today, the Office for Budget Responsibility forecasts that because of changing international factors and the measures I take, the UK will not now enter a technical recession this year.
Mr Hunt also said the Office for Budget Responsibility was predicting that inflation would fall from above 10% to 2.9% this year. He confirmed that the energy price guarantee, designed to help struggling households cope with the soaring price of gas and electricity, would remain at £2,500 for the next 3 months. Mr Hunt also said he was introducing a Brexit pubs guarantee. He said he would take advantage of a freedom which had become available after leaving the EU and reduce the tax on draft beer in pubs compared with supermarkets.
Today, I will do something that was not possible when we were in the EU and significantly increase the generosity of draft relief so that from the 1st of August, the duty on draft products in pubs will be up to 11 pence lower than the duty in supermarkets.
On fuel duty, Mr Hunt pledged to maintain the 5 pence cut in fuel duty for a further 12 months to loud cheers from his backbenchers. He said the Office for Budget Responsibility now predicted that the economy would contract this year by 0.2%. Then he said it would grow by 1.8% in 2024. The budget's taking place against the backdrop of widespread industrial action in England. Hundreds of thousands of workers across a number of sectors are on strike. Staff working on the BBC's local and regional services are walking out for 24 hours over plans to merge some of their radio programmes. The BBC says it's tried to minimise disruption to audiences as much as possible. Junior doctors are into the final day of a 72-hour strike affecting hospitals in England. The government insists the British Medical Association's demands are unaffordable. But Dr Vivek Trivedi from the BMA says ministers haven't been listening.
Industrial action is designed to cause some disruption, but we've done it in a way to ensure acute patient care and safety. No doctor wants to go on strike. None of my junior doctor colleagues inherently want to be on strike for these 3 days, but we're trying to have our voice heard by the government, who continue to ignore us. And so we've been left to take industrial action to have our voice heard.
People in London are facing significant disruption as the underground network grinds to a halt. No tube lines are running because of a dispute involving members of the RMT and ASLEF unions over job cuts, pensions and conditions. Transport for London has urged them to call off the action. Teachers across England are also walking out over pay. Most of them received a pay rise of 5% last year, but the National Education Union says that isn't enough to keep up with the rising cost of living. The government says it's disappointed about the disruption to children's learning. Here's our education correspondent, Hazel Shearing.
At a primary school I visited in Leeds earlier, the cold hadn't put teachers off donning their woolly hats and coming out to the picket. And many more will be at a rally in London this afternoon. For weeks now, the dispute in England has looked more like a standoff, with the government saying to the NEU teaching union, call off the strikes and we'll talk seriously about pay, and the NEU saying, talk seriously about pay and we'll consider calling off the strikes. There are no more strikes scheduled after tomorrow, but there are no talks in the diary either. Walkouts have been called off in Scotland and Wales following discussions.
A 19-year-old man's been charged in connection with a drive-by shooting near a church near Euston Station in central London. Alrico Nelson Martin from Kilburn will appear in court later. And scientists who examined fossils from more than 162 million years ago believe a type of dinosaur could have had the longest neck ever seen in an animal. Its neck was more than 15 metres long. That's more than 6 times longer than a giraffe's. The weather turning cloudier in the west this afternoon with outbreaks of rain in Wales, southwest England and Northern Ireland. Highs of 9 Celsius in London, 8 in Belfast, 7 in Cardiff, 6 Celsius in Edinburgh. That's the BBC News at 1:05.
Good afternoon, Jeremy Vine Show, BBC Radio 2.